The New York Rangers have quite a few players with one season left under contract before they are either UFAs, unrestricted free agents, or RFAs, restricted free agents. So in this video, we're going to take a look at all of the New York Rangers players with one season left under contract with the team. Some, like I said, are UFAs, some are RFAs. We're going to take a look at them and kind of talk about whether or not these guys are going to be re-signed, whether they're going to be potentially traded away, because some of them are RFAs, obviously, so they are under team control at least, and just kind of talk about what they could be doing with this team going forward, whether or not they should be brought back, and just kind of talking about these players as well. So starting off here with Alex Wenberg. Now, he was picked up by the Rangers at this year's NHL trade deadline for a second-round pick in 2024 and a fourth-round pick in 2025 via the Dallas Stars from that Nils Lundqvist trade. But I think this is a pretty good value here for the Rangers. He is an unrestricted free agent, though, coming up this summer, so it was, a rental move, obviously. His cap hit is down to a $2.25 million cap hit because he was 50% retained by the Seattle Kraken. So, like I said, I think it's a really good move here for the Rangers, picking up a very solid two-way kind of middle six center for the Rangers here. A perfect kind of third-line guy to have here who's definitely more defensive kind of guy than an offensive player, but he still has quite a few seasons in his NHL career of putting up some pretty great numbers offensively. So he is definitely a guy who can play, make, and score a bit here and there as well, but he definitely is more of a defensive center. And considering how much Wenberg is probably going to be getting this upcoming summer, I don't think he's going to be a realistic target to come back to the Rangers because his cap hit is probably going to be too much for what we can pay, considering we are going to have a guy like Filipina coming back to the Rangers potentially. Hopefully he can, obviously, after dealing with those concussion problems. So if Philip can, there's definitely a much smaller chance of coming back, but there is a possibility if some other moves happen, but we definitely would have to create a lot more cap space if we were to bring back Wenberg, obviously with Gila coming back as well. And next up here, we have a very interesting name to talk about, Kaapo Kakko. Now, he does have a $2.1 million cap hit for this season, but then he is an RFA, a restricted free agent, this upcoming summer, and he also is arbitration eligible as well. So that means if the Rangers and obviously Kakko and his representatives can't come to an agreement on a contract this summer, they can obviously go to an arbiter as well to kind of be that middleman there to get the deal done, which is nice for Kakko himself, but for the team who's trying to keep his cap hit as low as possible, not ideal, but still, I don't think Kakko is going to be a guy to get, a crazy, pay raise here. I mean, it's not like he's had the best season in the world, missed a lot of time due to injury, has played good overall two-way game, but offensively hasn't put up crazy numbers, so I don't really see Kakko getting a massive raise. Maybe you're looking at about like a $900K to $1 million raise at most. I can't imagine it's going to be anything more than that, really, because he hasn't done a whole lot offensively. The numbers haven't quite been there. Defensively, in his overall game, yes, but the numbers just haven't been amazing this season. He missed a lot of time with injuries, so really and truly, I don't see a massive raise for Kaapo Kakko, and it should be a quite manageable cap hit for the Rangers this upcoming season as well. And the next guy we're going to take a look at here is Jack Roslovic, who was picked up by the Rangers at this year's trade deadline, and he was a pretty solid pickup here. He got traded for a 2024 fourth-round pick that could become a third if the Rangers do make the Cup final. So that's not a bad trade at all there for the Rangers, picking up a pretty solid player here who has already been put on that top line there alongside Zibanejad and Kreider, who has made a bit of an impact. It's not like he scored a ton of goals so far yet, but he has played pretty decent, creating some good scoring chances. He's had a couple of his own. I think he's done a decent job so far. Sometimes it takes some guys, a few games to really get kind of acclimated to the new team and really get that chemistry going. So I wouldn't be too worried at all yet. The points will come, I'm sure. And Jack Roslovic is definitely a player who I think the Rangers should be looking to bring back. Now, it obviously depends on the price, but he is 27 years old, just turned 27 in January. He has experience at center and at wing as well, so that's definitely good. He can play both. He does obviously have multiple seasons now putting up some pretty good point totals. And if he does have good chemistry with Zibanejad and Kreider, that's obviously a pretty big bonus there. Hopefully that works. But he did have a cap hit of $4 million this season, so he may be a little too pricey for the Rangers because he's probably going to want a pay raise. We'll have to wait and see. And next up here, we have Ryan Lindgren, who is a very important part of this New York Rangers team and definitely a guy who I think should be and will be back with this team. He's 26 years old, but still, not too old, obviously. He's making $3 million this season, but he is an RFA with arbitration eligibility, so he's got that there. He's definitely going to get paid, and he's going to get an upgrade, a bit of a pay raise, I'm sure, but how much is it going to be? Not quite sure, but I don't think it's going to be too much higher than this. I mean, it is at $3 million right now. Maybe he's getting up to, 4.25, 4.5 at most. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot more than that. You're probably looking at somewhere around, 4, a little over 4 to, 4.6, 4.7 at most. It's not going to get any higher than that, I can't imagine, and it shouldn't. I think something around, a little over $4 million is probably what we're going to see potentially. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I'm guessing. Hopefully they can always get a deal done before the arbitrator, but if they have to go to that, that is there as well as an option. And next up here, we have another New York Rangers defenseman who I definitely think should be and will be back with the team next season, and that is 22-year-old Braden Schneider. Now, he is just coming off of his entry-level contract, so he obviously is not arbitration eligible, but he is on RFA, which is quite nice. So, going to have some team control there. He's not going to get a huge pay raise, but definitely will make more than that $925K he was making this season, which, great for him. Obviously, he's going to get a bit of a raise. I would imagine it's something around, kind of like that low 2 mark. Maybe it's like a 2.3 over like a 2-3 year deal potentially. Maybe it's like a 2-year deal at like 2.5, something like that is definitely a possibility. Maybe it's a bit more expensive than that, and you're looking at like the higher twos, but something around kind of the $2 million range on his 2-3 year deal is kind of what I'm guessing, and I think definitely is quite fair for a young guy like Braden Schneider. And the next guy here we have is Eric Gustafsson, who I definitely think could be back with this team. He's not an elite guy, but being an unrestricted free agent this upcoming summer, making only $825K this season, and obviously having a pretty good year, but not an amazing one. I mean, we did see him have a pretty good start there and a pretty good time when obviously Foxy was hurt. He was quarterback in that power play for a bit there, and he definitely was doing quite a good job, putting up some great offensive numbers, getting a lot more ice time. He was playing pretty great, but then once Foxy came back, you really saw that kind of decline in his overall game, getting a lot less ice time, a lot less power play time, so his game kind of dropped down a bit. He's probably going to be looking on the open market to kind of get a bigger deal, longer-term deal with a higher cap hit, and then if he can't get what he's looking for on the open market, maybe he circles back to the Rangers and ends up signing with us. That is a possibility there. I think he's definitely a guy that, like I said, he's going to want to look in the open market, going to want to see what he's getting offered, but if he doesn't get those offers from other teams, he definitely could come back here once again on a fairly cheap deal. And the last guy we have here to take a look at and talk about is Chad Ruhwedel, who I do not think will be back with the Rangers. I think we have other pretty solid depth options who can just provide a bit more, or at least we just already have them. So personally, I do not think he's going to be back with the team. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Anyways, though, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. Don't forget to comment down below your guys' thoughts on this video, and also don't forget to subscribe for daily New York Rangers content.